Welcome to the pre-work module for your upcoming secondary content area reading, school level team training. Thank you for taking the next 10 minutes or so to review some information that will help to set the stage for moving forward on our training day. I'm John Vale, a professional development specialist for the Technical Assistance Center, who, with the help of Nicole Coleman, put together this informational set. The purpose of this module is pretty straightforward. It's to get your minds ready for the day ahead. So let's get started. Over the next set of slides, I'd like to provide a context for why secondary content area reading is a critical topic, worthy of your attention, even in the face of the incredible demands you have placed upon you right now. You may remember that in your text summarization day, this simple view of reading was introduced. Simple in its framing of reading comprehension being a product of two sets of skills, word recognition and language comprehension, yet complex in the skills it represents and the knowledgeable intentionality it takes to teach these skills. Having worked with a number of struggling readers at the secondary level, I have found that it is highly unlikely that a student would exhibit skill levels that were completely developed, or on the flip side, totally non-existent. More likely scenarios are ones suggested on this slide. A student who is an English language learner might have fairly decent decoding skills, but have some confusion of sounds and spelling patterns that conflict with their native language. So let's give this student a 0.7 for word recognition. This same student, however, may struggle with names of some things, or with the recognition of idioms, slang, and other jargon. Let's give them 50% for this aspect. The product representing reading comprehension is 0.35, or about 1/3 that of a highly proficient reader. Another common scenario is that of a student identified as dyslexic, whose listening comprehension can often be very strong, let's say 0.9, but still confuse short and long vowels and have no strategy for deciphering multisyllabic words. Let's give this person a 0.5 for word recognition, but I have worked with some who struggle significantly more than that and have been hiding it for years. Their reading comprehension product is 0.5. Unfortunately, these students are very smart, but think they are dumb because they cannot read. Finally, think of the students who came from impoverished situations, moved schools frequently, or had bigger life issues than schooling and developed neither their word recognition nor their vocabulary and background knowledge in academic subjects. Look at that product. Might reading tasks result in some behavioral backlash? The takeaway is that both elements are critical, and deficits in one have substantial impact on the person's ability to comprehend written text. Suffice it to say, you do have and will have students with gaps in their needed skill sets at the secondary level. The power of this simple view of reading comes in its practical application to the classroom, in ensuring that instruction from preschool through high school appropriately balances instruction in language comprehension and word recognition. Please note two things. First, reading instruction does not end in elementary school, especially as it pertains to advanced decoding and fluency. Strategy instruction is especially important in middle and high school for comprehending more complex language found in core subjects. Second, although not shown here, is the fact that not all students have mastered the word recognition skills when they were intended to be learned. As a matter of fact, we have evidence that quite a few students continue to find basic reading difficult. The NAEP data shown here is just one indicator of this phenomena. It is this data, in combination with our own data and experience in our model demonstration work, that fuels our passion to ensure we address this in the secondary training series. Too many students at the secondary level are not good readers, and too many secondary educators have not been adequately prepared for this fact. This is also an issue of inequity for students of color, or may I add, students of disability or of low socioeconomic status. As we talk about solutions in SCAR, you will notice that most of our efforts will be centered on informational text. Although some content area strategies can be adapted for both informational and narrative genres, our main focus is on the application of strategies to informational text. One reason for this is the increasing importance and frequency informational text has in a secondary student's education, encompassing 70% of what they are required to read by 12th grade. Another reason for this focus is that because of the narrative emphasis in elementary grades, along with the story base of most outside of school entertainment, narrative has gotten lots of practice. Informational text, not so much. Text structures, vocabulary, density of content, and purpose for reading are all different for informational text. Additional teaching in all content areas is needed. This chart depicts text complexity ranges for various grade levels. Notice that the Lexile range, Lexile is just one measure of complexity, specified by the Common Core as needed in high school, is roughly between 1,000 and 1,400. Now compare those expectations with the reality of the text complexity students actually experience in high school, which tops out at around 1,100. Remember, the recommended upper Lexile of the range on the previous slide was nearly 1,400. Now look at the identified complexity bands with average levels for military just being under 1,200, for the workplace 1,250, community college 1,300, and four-year university at 1,400. This would suggest we have a preparation problem. To improve reading comprehension, students need instruction and significant practice with increasingly complex text. A recently conducted observation study spanning an entire academic year by Elizabeth Swanson and her team would suggest that they are not shown on this slide, but also assessed in this study, was the prevalence and quality of reading strategy instruction. Their findings, not much and not good. By everyone's admission, there are significant barriers to doing this well at the secondary level, but we are not without guidance. Much of the original work of the four-year model demonstration grant was guided by the findings of the Institute of Educational Science and published in a practice guide in 2008. The IES looked at the veracity of the research evidence supporting various attempts to improve adolescent reading. The terms strong and moderate refer to the levels and quality of evidence supporting a given practice, not necessarily the amplitude of change. Research since that report has essentially supported the recommendations, but has also pointed out the difficulty in moving the dial, given the severity and duration of reading issues that have been in play for secondary students and the actual educational structures that exist at the secondary level. The good news is that we have seen firsthand the impact of changing non-reading secondary students into readers. So, as you mentally prepare for our time together, we ask that you reflect on the questions posed on the slide. First, are your students reading enough across content areas? Second, are students intentionally being engaged and supported in reading increasingly in complex text? And third, what access exists to appropriate texts, such as in textbooks or ebooks or articles? Please be prepared to share at your secondary content area reading training your thoughts and questions. Thank you so much for your time.